From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network and Troy campuses around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Weekly.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Weekly. We're glad you joined us for this look at what's happening in and around Troy University. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Well, after months of renovation and construction, Troy University has a new home for the arts, as university officials finally got to show off the new Janice Hawkins Cultural Arts Park and International Arts Center in a ceremony this week. Samantha Charles gives us a look.
It began as an idea from 10,000 miles away.
When Bazaar, our good friend from China, came here, and as we mentioned, he's a world-famous sculptor, my husband asked me to tour him, and I brought him here hoping that he would catch my vision and pass it along, because at the time it wasn't a reality. Well, first of all, he told me to tear the building down, and I said, oh, I don't think we can do that, and it's not the right thing to do, but he said this needed to be the cultural center of the university.
Behind me are just a few of the 200 terracotta warriors here at the Cultural Arts Park, which Hawkins says is the largest display of warriors outside of China.
Xi'an, China. We thought that. We've since checked it out, and it's known as the eighth wonder of the world.
From the outside looking in, you see terracotta warriors, but from the inside looking out, there is so much more.
The most comprehensive collection is from Noll Hollis, who's from Troy, and after whom we've named one of the galleries, and his work is known worldwide. The other gallery is named after Hu Baizhu, and he's, of course, our friend from Xi'an, China. And that gallery will house some of his work, but it'll also be for student exhibit. It'll be for, and the current exhibit, of course, is from artists who've been associated with Troy for the last half century or longer. And so it'll be a spectacular place, a beautiful place, so where people can come, both students and from the community, and enjoy some of the world's most beautiful art.
With the help of designer Frank Marquette, you can now visit the exhibit, which is located between the Troy University Chancellor's Home and McKinley Drive. Samantha Charles, Troy TrojanVision News.
While the new International Arts Center is home to works of art from around the world, some of that global art comes from a man, though currently based in France, got his start right here in Troy. Sarah Singletary shows us the man.
The Violata Pack Stub is one of the largest pieces of art by world-renowned artist and Troy native, Noll, and it now has a new home at Troy's International Arts Center. The dove, originally commissioned by the Pope, is a Noll original that he says found its home in the same place he originally called his home.
It's been sitting in a warehouse at Troy for maybe a year, and when I saw her out on this plaza, I was just really, it felt like she was home, that she had lit here for good.
And the statue is only a part of Noll's contribution. His entire life's work is on display in a permanent gallery in the International Arts Center.
Well, I went through my warehouses and picked out some of the most powerful pieces, the ones that I had saved all these years and wouldn't sell them because they were really good pieces. And I usually don't sell the best pieces. I cubby hole those back for an occasion like today.
And although Noll has traveled around the world creating art, he says he always remembers his roots.
Troy was the birthplace of all four of my grandparents, the Trotmans, the Nolls, the Hollises, and the Lomans, either Troy or within 5-mile, 10-mile radius. So this is all that I really knew as far as heritage.
The Noll Gallery is located inside the International Arts Center. Sarah Singletary, Troy TrojanVision News.
And the new International Arts Center is filled with artwork from all over the world, but there's one piece produced by a local artist that displays the international and artistic sides of the university. Joshua Lee gives us a look.
One of the first pieces of art visitors will see upon entering the new International Arts Center is a piece called Troy, a portrait of a university by artist Ilana Hagler. The work was unveiled Thursday morning and hangs in the main hall of the center. The piece was executed by Hagler based on inspiration from First Lady Janice Hawkins.
I was glad to have this opportunity. Mrs. Hawkins was really wonderful to work with, and getting to apply my vision to her initial concept was both a challenge and a real pleasure. And absolutely, I worked on it for a very long time, for 6 months, starting from the initial drawing sketches, working out the composition, and then going ahead and planning the actual painting.
The piece features elements of the original plans for Troy University combined with current features of the campus. Hagler said she did some extensive research into what would end up on the canvas.
As part of my research for this painting, I was also given a very old book about the history of the university from way back in its inception by Dr. Hawkins, and that was interesting for me to read. And then I also spent some time lurking around campus, incognito, just like walking through unknown paths and discovering strange little places and beautiful nooks. And that was a lot of fun for me as I was deciding, well, which architectural elements am I actually going to include in this?
However, in addition to buildings, Hagler wanted to include student elements that display Troy's international side.
And I think one of my favorite parts was actually gathering the international students together. And they stood around and they talked, and I positioned them here and there and just let them do their thing, and took photographs of them when they did it, and then I incorporated them into the final composition to show how much Troy values being an international students and their presence here on campus.
Joshua Lee, Troy, TrojanVision News.
We'll take a short break, but when we return, we'll see the variety of activities that were part of Troy's International Education Week. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it! I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Now back to Troy TrojanVision News Weekly.
This week was International Education Week, and international students were able to save a few dining plan points with an event designed to share the food and culture of many of the nations represented at Troy. Jordan Elston has the story.
Troy University's international students got a free meal Tuesday afternoon, sponsored by Troy's Rotary Club, as a part of International Education Week.
Today is the International Rotary Luncheon, and it is one of the events of a week-long event celebrating international education. International Education Week is sponsored by the U.S. Department of State to promote international education across universities across the country.
While this luncheon is an opportunity for international students to celebrate being at Troy University, International Education Week is an opportunity for Troy University students to gain some insight on different international cultures. Pretty good.
I think especially nowadays with globalization, we all have interaction between each other, and we still have so much to learn from each other that is so important that we keep up with different culture and diversify ourselves.
It just opens our minds to the world, and it gives us another worldview. I think as Americans sometimes we are a very big footprint and influence on the world, but it gives us an opportunity to talk with the rest of the world.
One student explains why she chose to attend the luncheon.
Right, so first of all, I really enjoy the international aspect of Troy University. I really think it's amazing to have all these different countries and we all get along, living in the same dorm, going to the same class and sharing the same meal. And we really get to learn a lot about the other's culture, but also about our own culture at the same point.
And in celebration of International Education Week, the Social Quad was turned into a world bazaar, bringing students together from around the globe. Faith Rosenwald has the details.
International professors and students held a bazaar on Troy's campus as part of International Education Week. The purpose of the event was to catch students as they walked by to try different foods, check out photos, and inquire about study abroad programs. Student advisor Justin Lampley said the bazaar shined light on international students.
We really just want to highlight all the international students here because they do a lot for our campus and really bring a lot of diverse perspectives on life in general.
Student organizations involved at the bazaar included the Spanish Club, the International Student Cultural Organization, the International Programs Office, and the Chinese Students Association. Many of these organizations and clubs encourage students to check out studying abroad through Troy.
It can really broaden your horizons, change your perspective, and help you with your career.
Students were given the chance to try cultural foods, have their face painted, as well as learn Korean calligraphy. Korean professor Young-hee Kent displayed Korean paintings at the event and spoke on the impact of the bazaar.
And it's a good chance to get to know the other cultures. So especially Troy University is known for international university, the biggest international university in Alabama, more nationwide. So this will be a very good chance to connect all different international culture.
The Bazaar Marketplace asked students to come to the upcoming ISCO Festival Thursday evening. Faith Rosenwald, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
And as a part of the International Education Week activities on campus, Troy shows students the variety of study abroad opportunities available to them. Ryan Renfro shows us how.
Are people going to speak English? Before they can study abroad, first comes the process of gathering information.
Study abroad is accessible for all students regardless of their academic background or cultural background here.
Kimberly Nicholas is the manager of a direct enrollment provider known as the Knowledge Exchange Institute.
KI really started on a foundation that all majors are accessible to study abroad.
And this week she visits Bibb Graves to discuss with Troy students the importance of studying abroad.
It gives you so many skills. We're talking about life skills, but we're also academic skills. It makes you a competent global citizen in the world that is increasingly becoming more global.
Here at the front of the classroom, we have a few Knowledge Exchange Institute cards that pose the question, where will your major take you? Communication, arts, and business cards are only 3 majors included, with each card offering affordable major-specific programs with opportunities for internships and community service. And one Trojan in attendance shares how studying abroad changed his life.
It opened my eyes and it allowed me to see that I can actually become someone more than what I've seen in my life. And it changed my whole world.
Students looking to take their next step towards studying abroad can visit room 37 in Hawkins Hall.
Troy students had the chance to taste and see parts of Indian culture on Friday night during the Indian Student Association's celebration of Diwali. Nathaniel Rodriguez has the story.
The Indian Student Association celebrated Diwali, the Festival of Lights, last Friday night with song, dance, and Indian cuisine. According to Indian student Ishtiaq, Diwali is one of the most important holidays in Indian culture and deals with the triumph of good over evil.
During this festival in India, people, they cook a lot of food, they distribute the food, especially the sweets, and they visit relatives. On this day, elders give blessings to youngsters, for their bright future. Yeah, that's the festival is all about.
As part of their own interpretation of the holiday, the ISA brought in various traditions from India's numerous cultures.
We have a couple of cultural dance performances. India is called a subcontinent because there are variety of cultures, and if you go every part of India, you find a different culture, a different language, a different religion. That's the reason it's called as a subcontinent.
One Indian student shared why she enjoyed being able to celebrate Diwali not just with other Indians, but with Americans as well.
I would like to celebrate this festival with, especially with Americans. Is awesome because I want to explore my culture, tradition, and the things, the ideas, how we wear as saris, different traditional dresses to everyone.
And as for the Americans, one student shared her favorite part of the event.
I think my favorite part was the comedic dance routine, because I was not expecting that, and I knew a couple of the guys that were doing it, and I just thought it was absolutely hilarious.
Although the date for Diwali in 2016 was October 30th, the festivals typically last 5 days, with Diwali right in the middle. Nathaniel Rodriguez, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll see how some Troy students got a better understanding of living in poverty. That and more right after this.
You make me wear my bike helmet. Taught me never to run with scissors.
You tell me to stay away from drugs.
To always buckle my seatbelt. And to follow the swimming rules.
You're always looking out for me and trying to keep me safe.
So why do you keep a loaded gun in your drawer? Here in the garage.
Closet. Shoe box under the bed.
Where anyone can get to it. How safe is that?
How safe is that?
How safe is that?
You asked them to follow some safety rules. Now they're asking you. In fact, they're counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. If you own a firearm and are not using it, please be responsible and be sure that it's stored in a safe place. Remember, always lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org.
Now back to TrojanVision News Weekly.
There are many Americans who live in poverty, but those who don't may not have any idea what the challenges are when living below the poverty line. A simulation held for Troy students this week tried to put students into the shoes of those living in poverty. Chelsea Law explains.
On Tuesday night, a few students got to participate in a simulation that showed them what it's like to live in poverty but still have everyday responsibilities.
More than 900,000 Alabamians live below the federal poverty line, and many, many more are really struggling to meet their family's basic needs. So we're spending a couple hours with some students at Troy for them to experience what it would be like to be low income and to not be able to make ends meet from week to week and month to month.
Students were assigned a family and their background. Then they had to visit different stations with the little money that they had to do things such as grocery shopping, pay mortgage and utilities, and even enroll their children into school. But they often ran into situations such as not having enough money. Sometimes students were forced to make decisions that got them arrested just so they can take care of their family.
It's way too easy for us to say if people just made better choices, then they wouldn't find themselves in this situation. Or if they just went out and got a job, then they'd be able to take care of their family. And what we learn in this is that sometimes there are no good choices, and that there's a decision between two bad choices. Or you find out that even though you have a job, you still don't have enough money to feed your family.
Sometimes to truly understand a person in their situation, you have to take a walk in their shoes. Even though the stimulation was short-lived, students walked away with a better understanding of life in poverty. Chelsea Law, Troy, TrojanVision News.
A group of Troy University students are trying to make sure some children in Mexico will have a Merry Christmas. Sarah Jones shows us how.
With holidays right around the corner, Troy University students are eager to give to others. Student Beth Moore was inspired to hold a clothing, shoe, and toy drive when she started traveling to Mexico over Christmas break to help those in need.
I just noticed how nobody has anything and they don't really get a Christmas, and just getting little used things is exciting for them. So I thought, well, if we could get people to give their gently used clothes or shoes, or new clothes, shoes, or toys, then people would actually enjoy having stuff, and it would be worth a Christmas.
This clothing, shoe, and toy drive is being hosted by the Health Science Learning community. Donations of these new or gently used items will be hand-delivered in December to children and adults in Mexico. Moore is hopeful that students will learn from their participation in this fundraiser.
I hope that they learn that giving is better than receiving, and that we get so much as Americans, and that we're privileged to get Christmas, and we get spoiled with Christmas, and so just realizing that someone's going to be so happy from something I don't even care about anymore. I hope that it'll be a kind of gut check and a realization to students.
Tables will be set up outside of the Trojan Center tomorrow to accept donations, and donation boxes will be placed inside each residence hall through December 10th. Sarah Jones, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The Trojan softball field was home to a different kind of bats as the team got in the Halloween spirit. It welcomed some local children to do a little early trick-or-treating. Chelsea Law shows us how.
On Thursday evening, children around the Troy area got together for a scary good time. Kids big and small gathered on the softball field and played games like cornhole and apple bobbing to win that one thing that seemed to give them superpowers: candy.
It's important to get kids from the community to come here and, just have fun and get them to know the softball players and maybe get some more fans. It's all about having fans, and this helps a lot. And it's just a good time. It's Halloween, and kids get a lot of candy.
This is the softball's event's third year putting on the trunk or treat, and it is a huge success in the community. But this event is also used to help spread awareness for the sport.
It's just a great way to get younger fans out, get them out here, get them some candy, let them know about Troy softball, because the game is growing. The sport of softball it's getting bigger every day, and a lot of younger people are getting into it, and this is just a way to get them out here.
Putting on an event like this is hard work, but it is also worth it and rewarding in the end. One volunteer favorite part is
the kids having fun. That's always a big part. They have a lot of smiles on their faces, something for them to do after school, yeah.
Chelsea Law, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
This week, some Troy University students got the chance to get a little more familiar with the places on campus as Trojan Outreach held a photo scavenger hunt, and Jamal Kennedy tagged along.
Say cheese. Thursday night, Trojan Outreach hosted a photo scavenger hunt event in which teams met at the patio of the Barnes & Noble bookstore before heading out to compete.
So this month we're actually hosting a scavenger hunt, which is where the students can come and participate in lots of different activities over the course of an hour to try to gain points and win.
Even though it was a fun-filled event, its main objective was to build relations between American and international students.
We think by hosting these activities, it can kind of break the ice with the students, give them a fun activity to do, and really just open more conversation and relate to each other better.
One Troy University student who participated said the most challenging part of the night was getting out of her comfort zone.
It definitely took me out of my comfort zone, and it was really fun because I talked to people I didn't think I would be able to talk to, and I asked somebody to come take a picture with us in the photo booth or phone booth, and that was really cool.
Carnes also said that she was nervous because a photo scavenger hunt was something new to her.
It's something I've never done before, and then they said it's a photo contest, so I kind of knew that we were going to be walking all around campus and taking pictures, so I was like,
And photo scavenging events tonight included doing things such as posing in the street like the Beatles, taking a picture of your left shoe, or my personal favorite, spelling out T-R-O-Y. Trojan Outreach also hosts Conversation Partners, another event for international students to better learn English and build relationships. Jamal Kennedy.
Welcome to Moe's!
Troy, Trojan Vision News.
Well, it's time for our last break. When we return, we'll learn about this year's Ruckathon to benefit student veterans on campus. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Looks like it's done.
Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So learn the right temperature to cook each type of meat. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
This is Dr. Daniel Smith. He's an expert in domestic and international economics. But his proudest achievement is connecting with his students and helping them accomplish more than they ever thought possible. That's the warrior spirit, and it's alive and well at Troy University. Feel it at troy.edu/spirit.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
Troy University students have the chance to experience a small part of what it's like to be a soldier and help student veterans in the process. We'll learn how in this week's Trojan Talk. Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Today we'll learn about a way that the community can help student veterans here on campus, and my guest today is the president of the Student Veterans Association here at Troy, Reeves Johnson. Reeves, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
And as I mentioned, helping out student veterans. A lot of times people are not aware that there are veterans that are going to school here on campus, but we're going to talk about a fun way that's become an annual event here, the Ruckathon. So tell us a little about the Ruckathon. What, as a matter of fact, for those who don't know, what is a Ruckathon?
Okay, so a ruck it's sort of like a backpack. It's typically a little bit bigger. And we're going to fill it with about 30 pounds worth of goods in order to make it all the same weight. You're going to have about teams of 5, and the registration fee is going to be about $50 per team. And you're going to ruck around the track for about 4 hours, from 12 to 4, and you take turns. So one person will have the ruck, take a few laps, and then somebody else will change out. A lot of members of the military have to ruck regularly, so it's just a fun way to kind of walk in their shoes.
And obviously walk in their shoes by getting an experience that, like you said, military do all the time, but regular citizens aren't aware that this is the kind of literal burden that some of the members of the military have to deal with. Why is it so important for students to, and just anyone out there, be aware of what vets have to go through?
Well, for one, it's a different world altogether. I personally started here as a traditional student. I was not originally in the military when I first came in. And I can tell you there's a huge difference. There are things that I would have just never understood otherwise. So it's a good way to kind of try to bridge that gap and make sure that there's an understanding, because I feel like there are a lot of misconceptions about student veterans and what they're about. They don't always have to be older students. A lot of them are. And that's fine. We love to support those veterans as well. But we have a bunch of people who are around my age, mid-20s, late 20s, 30s, and they're not supposed to be intimidating. It's a good way to allow them to see more of what our student veteran body is about.
And they get to do this, and like I said, it's a fun way. It's almost like, there's a lot of walks out there for charities and things of that sort, but this adds a new spin to that by incorporating the ruck to it. And so talk a little bit about, I guess, about what it takes to get a team together, and how can a team participate and get their team together and sign up for this?
Okay, so you need 5 members. We've asked a lot of Greek organizations to make teams, and we have gotten a few who've been interested. If you can just get 4 other people together, and you can come by our troop center at the Trojan Center is room 122 next to Rico, or the Dollar Movie Night stand.
the stand out there where you buy the tickets is right across from that for the students. So.
If they can come by there and give us a check made out to the SVA for $50, they're more than welcome to come ruck. And even if they don't want to ruck, they can come observe. We love having people come out there.
And now, we hadn't touched on this, is there a competitive aspect to this as well? Is there like a prize for the best rucking team out there?
We actually have a lot of prizes this year from various businesses who were kind enough to donate to us, and we will have their sponsorship list out there. There will be lots of prizes we're going to give them for teams. And there is a bit of competition. I know for a fact we've got 3 teams from the Army ROTC, and I know they're going to compete against each other to see who can do it the fastest, and I'm sure Air Force ROTC will as well. Hopefully everybody gets competitive. It's part of the military spirit, as well as camaraderie.
And of course, if anyone, they don't make a team, but they still want to help out or participate, folks can come out and spectate, and there's going to be some other activities and things like that out there at the event as well, right?
Yes, absolutely. I would love for them to come see and get involved and see what we're about. I feel like a lot of misconception is that we're simply a counseling center, and we're not. We're supposed to be a place for student veterans to find themselves in college and allow themselves to become successful students and go beyond that. And a lot of that is finding friends, finding somebody to lean on, finding a way to get involved. And you don't have to be a veteran to get involved. You can be a student to be part of the SVA. You can be just a regular civilian, somebody who wants to help the troops.
And of course, and that's all part of being a part of the Ruckathon, but also taking advantage of the Troy for Troops Center. So if there's a student veteran out there who's watching this and is thinking, hey, I want to seek out some help here, they can go to the Troy for Troops Center and find more out about more of this organization, correct? So
of course, the Troy for Troops Center isn't simply the SVA. We also have the Salute Veteran Honor Society, and that's a great thing to put on your resume. But on top of that, there are people there from all walks of life. You don't have to be a veteran either. You can be a dependent, a contracted ROTC cadet.
Okay.
So it's anyone military affiliated who is using benefits of some sort.
All right. Well, for the Ruckathon, when and where is the Ruckathon when folks want to participate in this?
Okay, the Ruckathon is November 11th from 12 to 4:30.
12 to 4:30 on Veterans Day.
Yes.
Out at the track.
Yes.
And an opportunity to have a little fun and help bring some awareness to veterans here on campus. Good luck with this year's event, and thank you for joining us. And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk. And that's what happened on the first week of November 2016. To find out what's happening throughout the week, you can tune in to Troy TrojanVision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30 Monday through Friday, or anytime by following us on Twitter at Troy TV News. Also, feel free to like our Troy TrojanVision News fan page on Facebook to see links to online content from Troy TrojanVision News. We hope to see you again next week for another edition of Troy TrojanVision Weekly.